Hi there, I'm Lisa Arana, and thank you for joining me for another Assemble This video. I have two elegant cards to share with you today. All you need is some lovely stamps and pretty pattern paper, and you can easily recreate these elegant, beautiful cards. I'm featuring the Wonderful and Simple Things stamp set from Unity Stamp Company. The bird and butterfly are a perfect focal image for your cards, and there's so many different sentiments included for lots of occasions. I'm starting out with a bunch of these pre-stamped images and sentiments on some white and craft cardstock. I trimmed down a full sheet of cardstock to 4 1/4, so cut it in half, and then trimmed each of those down to 3 1/2. So each of these panels is about 3 1/2 by 4 1/4, so you can easily get 6 panels out of one sheet of cardstock. I'm going to only be using 2 today, so I'll put the rest in my stash to grab for later. Now I'm going to start with card number 1. I didn't really have a plan before starting this video, so I just grabbed a bunch of pretty pattern paper that I knew coordinated. It all comes from the same paper pack, so I know that they all work together. So I'm just grabbing a few, grabbing some dies, seeing what I like around that panel that I had already created. I ended up going with a die to mat that panel with the bird and the sentiment. And then I really like this birch wood looking pattern paper. So I started with placement, from the side, from the middle, kind of seeing what works well with this image. I kind of liked all of those, but what I ended up going with was this layout. I really liked the idea of having the pattern paper on the left and then something going on the right. So I grabbed one of my favorite background stamps. This is a Faithful Letter, and I just inked that up with some Versa Fine Clair ink in Nocturne. And I'm just really going to focus on stamping on the right side of the card. I just laid my background stamp over my craft cardstock and got a great impression. And then I'm going to glue that down to the front of my card base. Just like that. And then I grabbed that pattern paper and trimmed it down to the front of my card. And I did go over a little bit more than half because I like the idea of it being not symmetrical. Glued that down, and now I'm going to trim that down to the size of my card. And then I'm just going to glue down the mat for my stamped panel, and then pop up the stamp panel with the bird and the sentiment right in the center. So this is a great card for mailing. It's fairly flat. There's not a lot of dimension going on. I'm going to add a few Nuvo drops in bright gold just to add a little bit of something to the front. So for card number 2, I had a scrap piece of paper that I grabbed from that pattern paper pack. Not really sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I have it ready to go. And I really like the background stamp from the first card, so this time I grabbed my other favorite background stamp, Small Details. This is a smaller print looking stamp, and it has lots of great words in it that are not specific to any occasion, so you can use it for almost anything. So I stamped that down in the background with the same Nocturne Clair VersaFine ink. And I didn't get such a great impression, so I thought, well, perfect. I have this strip of pattern paper. I'm just going to cover up where those little holes were in the background stamp. So I didn't really have a plan for it, but it worked out perfectly. So I added the glue, and then I realized I didn't really have a straight edge, so I was going to get a little wonkiness going on. So I just trimmed that down and then glued that straight down to the front of my panel, and then trimmed that with my scissors so it matched perfectly. And this really ended up being my favorite of the two. I really like that hint of the craft and gold just kind of going at an angle. And I love that print background. It's just one that I grab over and over again. So next we're just going to glue down our black mat directly down to the center of the card. Just like that, and then add a bit of foam adhesive to the back of the panel. We'll pop that up. This almost reminds me of a book for some reason. And then just that hint of the strip of the pattern paper is just so pretty. Add a few Nuvo drops like we did to the first card just for a little bit of interest and shine. And it's super easy to do. And again, it's a nice flat card for mailing. So this is my favorite part of this kit. I have been wanting a pass it on stamp for quite a while, so I snuck it into this kit because I thought it worked perfectly with it. The stamp reads, "Bonus gift. Feel free to remove this note and use this card for someone else." So just like the panels, I trimmed down a sheet of cardstock to 4¼ by 3½. So I got 6 panels out of a card, and then I just stamped this sentiment at the bottom of each of those panels, threw them in a Ziploc bag so I have them handy whenever I need them. They're a perfect way to turn your card into a gift as well. So the person just needs to remove the insert and then they can use the card for someone else. So here's our finished cards. I just love the elegant look of both of them. It was so easy to stamp a bunch of panels and have those in my stash, and then grab 2, add a little bit of background stamping, some pretty pattern paper, and some Nuvo drops for some shine. And then my favorite part, the bonus gift insert. Just use some washi tape to place that inside the card. And then you can just decorate that panel with your sentiment and personal message, and it's easily removed for the person to reuse that card for someone else. As always, I will have my supplies linked in the description of this video. If you have any questions or sweet comment, post below. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you were inspired, and I'll see you next time. Bye!